Good morning, y'all. It's another day in the shop. It is New Year's Day, and today we're going to work on my wife's 2024 Toyota RAV4. So, of course, this being a brand new car, there's not a whole lot we got to do to it as of yet, but there are a couple of things that we do need to do to it. And today what we're going to do is get rid of the auto stop start feature on this thing. So if you've bought a new car here lately, you've probably noticed that every time you pull up to a stop sign or you're in traffic and you're at a stop, the motor cuts off. Then when you take your foot off the brake, it starts back up again. So why is it doing that? Well, the easy answer is the government, but technically it is not. The auto start stop feature is not government mandated. The government didn't go to the car manufacturers and say, you must put an auto start stop system on the car. That's not what happened. Doesn't mean it's not on there because of the government, but we'll get to that. So the reason it's on there is because all car manufacturers have to meet what they call CAFE standards, which is basically the government telling car manufacturers that if they take all the cars they sell combined, they have to meet a certain fuel mileage. So even though these new cars run far cleaner than anything we've ever had, the problem is the government standard is ridiculously high. And while you can make a car like a Prius meet the standard, what you can't do is make a car that people will actually buy make the standard. So consequently, because most people nowadays want to buy trucks and big SUVs, and even those vehicles nowadays are getting amazing gas mileage compared to what they used to, there's no way in hell they're going to meet the ridiculous government standards. So what they have to do is things like put this stop start thing in, and the only reason it's in there is to try to make all of the vehicles combined meet the government standard for fuel mileage. Never mind that it's pretty bad for your vehicle. So that's why it's in there. That's also the reason why on all these systems, they put a button in there so you can disable it, but they don't have a system in there to disable it permanently. You have to press it every time you get in to start the car. You've got to press that button to turn the auto start stop off, which is fine if you get in the habit of doing that. But the problem comes when you have people who just, you're going to forget from time to time, and you have some people that just, it's going to be a whole lot better if you have a system that automatically turns it off for them. So why do you not want it on there? Why would we want to disable that? So I can actually give you a real life example of why, and this happened just the other week ago. So I already put one of these modules in my daughter's new Highlander. I didn't film it because at the time I had to leave work and go get her car out of the school parking lot and jump it off because it would not start. And the reason it would not start is because of this system. And I'll tell you why here. So if you think back to the old school, every time you start your car, then it takes about 20 minutes of the car running to recharge the battery from starting it, which is no big deal. And these new cars, they've got much higher amperage alternators and such, so it doesn't take as long, but still takes a certain amount of time running to charge the battery back up. So my daughter, where she goes to school, is about a mile from our house. And this is not going to be an exact strip map, but it's going to give you an idea of her trip to school. So if the school is here, and our house is down here, when she leaves the house, she comes to a 4-lane divided highway right here. And when she leaves the house, there's one stop sign in the neighborhood. Then she comes up to this 4-lane. Now this 4-lane's usually pretty busy, so she's going to stop here. There's a stop sign here. And she may stop and move forward depending on traffic that time of the morning a couple of times. So that car is going to stop and start maybe once, maybe twice, sometimes as many as 3 or 4 times. Well, then here in the median, there's another stop sign. So you make it across the first 2 lanes, then you got another stop sign, and your car is going to shut off and restart maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. Then she makes it across there, she gets up to the school, and shuts her car off. Coming home, it's the opposite. Get up here, stop sign, to the house. That's all in less than a mile. So her car is starting at the house, starting at least twice getting across this highway, minimum, and usually more. And then getting to the school, all in less than a mile. So this is literally takes 5 minutes. So after a couple of weeks of that, she got to school and took her exams and was ready to come home, and the car wouldn't start. She got in the car, she turned the key. Well, it doesn't have that car doesn't have a key. It's a keyless start. But she got in the car, put her foot on the brake pedal, hit the start button, and it came up with a message. And the message didn't say the battery was dead or anything. It said that the car had low braking power. Well, that car is electric everything. And I mean, power steering, brake booster, everything's electric on it. So when the battery gets a little low, it won't crank. It won't let you crank it. Now, it would crank if it was an old car, because when I got there and put the tester on it, the battery was at 87%. So it wasn't dead, but the car's computer said, nope, that's not enough, and wouldn't let it crank. So I put a jump box on it, got it home, put a battery charger on it, let the battery fully charge on a trickle, and haven't had any problem with it since. But at the same time, while that battery was charging, I put one of these eliminator circuits in there to get rid of the start-stop. So the eliminator circuit that I'm talking about, this is the one we were going to put in my wife's car. You can order these on Amazon. That's the information on this one. But if you go on Amazon and just search whatever your car you got, and auto start stop, you'll find them. They're on there. And it's a pretty simple little thing. It's basically a little box in a wiring harness, and it plugs in between the switch and the car's wiring harness. So you got to get to the back of the switch, the one that you hit to cut it off, and you plug this in here. And basically all this is it's a little timer in there, and every time you start the car, it sends a signal to the ECU telling it that you hit the button to turn off the auto start stop. Easy peasy. This particular one, it came with the little plastic thing for pulling the panels off in the car, and even came with a little 10mm wrench to take the one screw we got to take off. But most of these cars, you have to get a module like this, and the reason why is because if you just unplugs stuff under the hood to try to get it to not work, you're going to have check engine lights and everything else. So that is the thing. And like I said, I already put one on my daughter's car. It works great. It takes all the guesswork, takes any interaction out. I mean, you start the car up and it cuts the auto start stop off, and you don't have that running your battery down. And not to mention all the wear on your starter and your engine components. I mean, whoever came up with this retarded idea obviously has never had to change a starter on a car, because they would never make the car start 6 or 8 times when you could start it once. That's just, it's ridiculous. But that's the world we live in with government mandates. So all we're going to need to do to put this in the Toyota, we're going to need that little little plastic thing. You could do it with a screwdriver, but the plastic, make sure you don't break anything. And I'm not going to use their little tool. I got a little 1/4" drive ratchet with a 10mm socket. So let me get set up in the car, and we'll go ahead. I'll show you what all you got to remove on this 2024 RAV4 to get to the button and get this thing swapped out. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, so we're inside of the car, and I'm going to try to do this as best I can where you can see what I'm doing and I'm still able to do it. So on this RAV4, the button to turn the auto off is right here. It's in this little strip. So first thing we got to do is get my wife's stuff out of the way here. All right, so we got that out. And step 1, take your little tool and start getting this button panel here around the shifter pulled up. And once you get an edge on it, you can pretty much pull it the rest of the way, but there we go. And it pulls straight up, but there we go. All right, so we need to get that pulled up and kind of sitting there. This little plastic thing popped up out of here. All right, once you got that up, right here at the bottom, there's a little 10mm bolt right there. So we're going to take our ratchet, unscrew that, you want to be careful not to drop it down in there, because you'll be having a bad day then, having to fish it out of there. I mean, you can do it, it's not the end of the world, but y'all had to excuse me, it's kind of hard to work around this camera. Alright, so there's our bolt. Drop that down in the cup holder. Keep it out of the way. This is loose. Once this is up, then you can reach back here, and this plastic piece that that's behind there, it can come up out of there like so, and we'll just unplug the cables out of it so we can, Well, I say I'm going to. Can't seem to grip that thing. Fingers don't seem to want to work this morning. Let me go get my tool. I'll be right back. I don't want to break this plastic on this brand new car. Okay, turns out that the main thing I needed to go get was my glasses so I could see what the hell I was doing. Anyways, you can take this. You don't have to take the wires off of it. Just hang it off to the side so it's out of the way. Next, we need to take this climate control piece loose. And again, take your little plastic doodle hickey and get behind it, and you can pop it, and it just pulls out kind of straight like that. And then you can reach in here, and there's another little clip, and you can get your piece behind it and pop it up out of there, hopefully. Or, alternatively, I guess we could just unplug this dang thing. If I could, cannot see the little piece you gotta push. There we go. Just push in on the little tab. You can unplug that, lay that off to the side. And we got to get this silver piece here kind of loose. So if you just kind of pull up on it, and you got to work around this. It's kind of a pain in the behind, but there we go. We got to get that loose like that so that we can get this piece out. And this piece just pulls straight out. And you got to kind of work it around this silver plastic piece to get it pulled on out where you can get anyways, our goal is to get to, see if I can get this where you can see it, this blue plug right here. So there's a little tab right there you got to push down on and pull that blue plug out. And I'm not prying with this screwdriver, I'm just using it as a third finger to kind of push this plug out. There we go. Alright, so we got the plug undone right there in between my fingers. And then all we're going to do is take our little module and plug it in between that wiring harness that you just unplugged and the push button switch. So we'll click that in there and got to kind of push this all back behind there and get this other part plugged into the button. Make sure everything clicks in and then go backwards. So get this wiggled in here into its spot, click it back in like that,
Get our silver piece kind of all lined up. Back, get all the clips lined up. Snap it all back into place like so. Hopefully the camera was looking. We'll take our climate control, plug it back in, line all the stuff up, and snap it back into place, just like so. Once we get that back in, we can take our other piece, this bottom piece here with the USB and the cigarette lighter, and wiggle it around our shifter and get it started back down in there. Biggest thing is just don't get in a hurry and break anything. So there we go. Get that back down in there. Make sure you don't do like I just did and click this shifter back down before it's time, because you got to get this piece finagled under there. There we go. So that's all clipped back in. Do not forget, before you put this last piece around the shifter back down, to put your bolt back in. So we'll zip that down real quick. And then we'll pop our shifter trim back on, just like that. So now we should take our key, put it in the ignition, and after a second or two, yep, see? Auto start stop is off. So we are good to go on that. And that's it. It's pretty easy. All you have to do is take that thing loose and pull the pieces out one at a time, just very carefully. And the biggest thing is don't get in a hurry and break any of the tabs off. It's not that hard. Of course, once you're done, you want to put everything back the way it was when you got it, when you got started, because you don't want your customer to be getting upset over why all their stuff is moved around. So we'll put all that back. And we're good to go. So, get all our stuff gathered up. Oh. And that's it. It's pretty easy to do. Like I said, the biggest thing is take your reading glasses with you if you can't see like me. So you can, that's why I always have these safety glasses, because they have readers built into them. Because I couldn't see the tab on the little electrical connector. But that's all she wrote. So appreciate y'all watching. Hopefully this has helped somebody out, give you an idea on how to get rid of that irritating start stop. And we'll see you in the next video. Y'all have a good one.